Ali versus Fraser, David versus Goliath, Frost versus Nixon, Luke Skywalker versus Darth Vader. The whole gamut there. Well, it may not quite be up there with the rumble in the jungle, but Westminster's been getting very excited at the prospect of Deputy Prime Minister Nick Clegg and UKIP leader Nigel Farage going head-to-head over Britain's future in the EU. Their TV debate will be on BBC Two from 7 p.m. on Wednesday, the 2nd of April. Put it in your diaries. And it'll be hosted by David Dimbleby. And they've been warming up for the bout this week, trading blows over how hard the other man works.
UKIP leaders don't turn up to vote in the European Parliament most of the time. Nigel Farage hasn't tabled a single amendment, not a single amendment, to the flow of legislation passing through the European Parliament since July 2009. They abstained extraordinarily for a party that also claims to be in favour of wider and more open trade across the world. They abstained on a vote on the EU-US trade agreement that is being thrashed out right now.
I have, since 2009, taken part in 45% of votes in the European Parliament. So combining getting to Strasbourg with running a major national political party, not an easy thing. Mr Clegg, by contrast, who lives in London, has only taken part in 22% of the votes in the House of Commons.
And we're joined now by Suzanne Evans from UKIP, and the Lib Dem Cabinet Minister Ed Davey is still with us. Just before we get on to the debate, Suzanne Evans, just want to ask you or put to you some of the claims made by Ed Davey. First of all, about that pamphlet, that leaflet about being repulsed by anti-Europeanism and racism. What do you say to that?
I think it's appalling. I'm really shocked at what I've heard here this morning. That leaflet, you know, it's got the Dad's Army ring about, hasn't it? Don't panic. Well, let me tell you something else, Dad's Army, Ed. We've got you on the run. Your membership has fallen, what, by 500,000 since...
Actually.
I think it's gone down, and you certainly lost at least 5 million voters. We have got the Lib Dems on the run. Every time anyone attacks UKIP for being racist, they attack the voters who are coming to UKIP in droves. It is not racist to talk about immigration. It is not racist to want to have control of our borders again.
Is it scaremongering, though, to talk of the sort of figures that Nigel Farage and UKIP talked about in terms of the numbers of Romanians and Bulgarians who go, that was scaremongering?
No, absolutely not, because Nigel Farage has been repeatedly misquoted on this, and Ed Davies just done it again.
It was your leaflet.
No, the leaflet said...
You put out in Eastleigh saying that 29 million Romanians could come to the UK.
They could come to the UK. That is practical in theory. We never said they would.
The whole of Romania comes to the UK.
There's a huge difference there.
Come on.
Right, OK, what about then immigration in general? Have you been scaremongering on immigration as a topic, as an issue?
No, I don't think we have, and the problem is that the other parties have just refused to tackle the issue. For years, the Labour Party shut down any debate on immigration by calling it racist. The Conservative Party didn't have the guts to actually stand above the parapet and talk about immigration, which is now, we know, one of the main concerns that voters have. The fact is, the Liberal Party, the Labour Party, the Conservative Party all have the same rhetoric on immigration and on the EU. They are all out to get us. They are scraping the barrel, attacking us. I mean, look at Robert Halfon, MP, last night, taking terrible smears. Well, we're not going to stand for that anymore, and on March the 29th, we will be in his constituency in Harlow having an action day, and we will be saying, if you love Britain and if you love Harlow, vote UK.
Except it's interesting, isn't it, that most of the recent surveys and polls, when it's talked about the economy and immigration, they've really espoused the benefits of immigration and immigrant labour, and that growth, future growth, to some extent, is being linked with still having a fairly open policy and welcoming foreign labour.
UKIP has never come out again. UKIP is not anti-immigration. UKIP is very much pro-immigration on a points-based system, such as we have in Australia, when we can welcome people into the country when we can welcome people into the country who want to contribute. And again, it's a way in which we've been grossly misrepresented.
Let's get on to the debate. Suzanne, Nigel Farage has said he had absolutely no choice but to accept Nick Clegg's offer. Was there a moment of doubt in his mind?
No, absolutely not at all. As he said there's more chance of finding a snowflake on the sun than there was of me turning down the opportunity to debate Nick Clegg. Nick Clegg's putting himself into a lion's den. I think the only question is he going to get out alive? We know they're both good orators, but if I'm hearing the sort of things that Ed Davey's been talking about this morning, if Nick Clegg repeats these in the debate, Nigel Farage will have absolutely no problem in knocking him down.
Well, it'll be certainly a very interesting debate. I mean, does it mean accepting a debate with Nick Clegg that Nigel Farage has accepted he's not going to be part of a prime ministerial debate for 2015?
I don't think so, and obviously we've had the Ofcom ruling.
You don't think he has accepted that, or so he's still trying to get into?
I think he would still very much like to be in a debate with the other leaders.
Well, I'm sure he'd like to be, but
yes.
is it as an acceptance that that's not really going to happen? So this is his best chance, really, at having a debate with a party leader.
I think the public will rightly question if, come 2015, Nigel Farage is not part of the national debates with the other two party leaders. He simply has to be. The voters won't stand for it. You know, Lib Dems last night did appallingly badly in the Nottingham by-election. Bus Pass Elvis did better than the Lib Dems. UKIP is the third party of Britain now. UKIP should be the third voice in that debate.
All right. Ed Davey, Simon Hughes has said it'll be a tough gig. For Nick, I mean, there's no doubt Nick Clegg is an expert on all things European. Is it a high-risk strategy for him?
I don't think so. I mean, we are proud to be the party in British politics of in. UKIP obviously proud to be the party of out. And I think it's quite good for the electorate that they have a clear choice. And I think Nick will talk about the jobs that we would lose if we pulled out of Europe. I think he'll also talk about the crime issue, because one thing I really want to take UKIP on is the crime issue. Because of our cooperation with Europol, because of the European arrest warrant, serious criminals, drug traffickers, terrorists, murderers, rapists, human traffickers are caught in a way they escape justice. By pulling out of Europe, as UKIP want to do, our streets in Britain would be less safe and less secure. It is a really dangerous strategy they're putting forward.
Well, it's interesting you should mention human trafficking, Ed, because I was actually in a meeting talking about this last night. And one of the points that was made clear is, of course, the open borders that we have within the EU now make it much, much easier for women in particular to be sold into slavery in this country. And that disgusts me. And we need to take control of our borders again, not just to stop criminals coming in, but also to protect people who might be trafficked.
Do you agree you have to cooperate with other countries?
Absolutely.
Europol does that. You pull us out of Europol.
Well, I think there are still other ways of cooperating over crime.
Is it a win-win for both?
I don't think so. I think Nick Clegg thinks that his Thursday morning phone-ins in LBC have prepared him for this kind of thing.
Have they not in some way?
I don't think they've prepared him for Nigel Farage. This is his politics is in a very different wavelength to the three Westminster parties, who, in Spiteway, says that all of them are favour of staying in the EU. The kind of lines of argument that UKIP has are not ones which most Westminster leaders are used to dealing with. That's partly why they don't want to win the main
Is Nick Clegg not used to having been in the Parliament?
I think Fraser's right, because people haven't put Nigel Farage and UKIP on the spot. I mean, go back to immigration, the EU immigration, which they're always worried about. The fact is there are 1.4 million UK citizens working in other EU countries. That's almost as many as EU citizens work in the UK. There are 1 million British citizens who are living in Spain.
But they wouldn't all get booted out if we were to go out of the EU, though. Your suggestion otherwise is rather...
I'm not suggesting that they all have to come back, of course not. But their rights and their support that they get would be reduced if we pulled out the EU.
And we wouldn't
I think those are the sorts of facts we need to get on the table.
But this is, you know, we've got a Westminster Compact, as you say, where everybody agrees with immigration for certain reasons, you know, because they bring in this much GDP, because they take out that much in benefits, because blah, blah.
Doctors.
Well, doctors, you know, but it's all economic, it's all kind of money brought in, money on the table. And UKIP, like many on the left, think about things differently. And I think on the left we would say people aren't just units of sale to be bought and sold. Let's just talk about what people bring in as people and their kind of essential virtues as people. And I think I would love to see the debate.
That's exactly UKIP's policy as well. This is not the prerogative of the so-called left. That is exactly UKIP's view that you've just espoused.
And so what do you say to Michael Heseltine, who said it's a misjudgment, frankly, of Nick Clegg to enter into this concept, to equate the leadership of a party, which is part of government, with a protest group?
We're not a protest group, that's quite clear. We are consistently polling third in the polls. We are gaining members rapidly. We have gone far beyond a protest group now, to the point where everyone's saying if we come second in the European elections, we're going to have failed. It's quite ridiculous.
Suzanne Evans and Ed Davey, thank you both very much.